When I was in kindergarten, my classmates had a nickname for me. They called me putt-putt. They said it was something about the way I used to run. Now, I remember in grade school, during our field day, I used to get first and second place awards for running. So this putt-putt was putting all the way to the finish line. I can laugh about it now, but back then, it wasn't funny. Could there be moments in your life that you remember where you felt that you were being ridiculed, maybe rejected, and you realized that showing up as your true self just didn't feel safe? Why is it that we may disappear emotionally in order to protect ourselves? Could it be that when we emotionally disappear, it's just really a survival mechanism? Think about it. If you showed up as your true self and you were ridiculed for it, just logically speaking, you wouldn't show up the same way. You would present yourself in a different version that may not be the most authentic version. That becomes a survival mechanism. I feel like this showing up in this way, in this smaller, safer version, can have a real effect on how we develop our character, how we develop our moral compass even. If you're not coming from a place of authenticity, you learn not to trust yourself to make the right decisions. Your way of looking at the world is skewed in a way because it's not coming from a place of authenticity. Think about times in your life when you showed up in your most natural self. And for whatever reason, that was met with negativity, maybe even some trauma and some pain. Wouldn't it make sense from a logical standpoint to show up in a different way? But here's the thing. What has it cost you showing up in that way as opposed to your most natural and authentic way? Emotional safety aside. Because you see, that emotional safety that you think you're creating by showing up in a dimmer version of yourself and playing small, that's really costing you in a way that could be quite detrimental. Quite detrimental. How has playing safe cost you? Has it cost you your peace? Has it cost you being able to really trust yourself in your decisions? Has it cost you being hyper self-aware? Well, maybe a better word for that would be self-conscious. What does it cost you not showing up in your most authentic way? And I want to take another look at it. I want to look at your success. When you look at the motives for your success, and this is not to belittle your success in any way, but if you're someone who is an extremely high achiever, could it be that your motives for achievement has to do with the way that you're maybe not valuing your authentic self? Here's what I mean. If who you were, you felt that that was not enough, maybe your high achieving ways is a result of your wanting to be valued for your excellent production, the way that you're able to produce, the success that you're able to generate, because your authentic self and your worthiness are in question. You question it. Behind all of the success and achievement, your value is really not looking at who you are as a person, but the success that you're able to generate. But the thing is, that's where the anxiety can come from. You have your true self and your need to be valued for who you are. And then this other version of you that is kind of hyped up in overachievement. It's like you can look at that person, that overachieving person, as a kind of a bit of an imposter, actually. That person that can excel and achieve is kind of like an image, like a protective image to protect your true self, who just wants to be valued, who just wants to be honored for who you are. So playing small as it relates to your true self, but this overachiever is the image that you present. And that image has become your protector. But you see, anxiety still follows you into that achievement, because it never really was about the success. It was about your feelings of worthiness. So how do you begin to shift from playing that small, safe version of yourself to honoring your true self, the authentic version of you? I think first you have to realize how showing up in that safe way is costing you your peace. What is your anxiety trying to tell you? I think it takes a lot of courage to be able to look at that. Why is it that every time I'm faced with a situation where I go against my truest desires, I get this feeling in my gut that something's wrong? How do you begin to rebuild that trust within yourself to show up in your all-encompassing authentic self? You do it by choosing one authentic moment at a time. When you're faced with a decision to say yes or no, checking within yourself to see, what is it that my truest self wants to say? What is it that my truest self wants to do in this situation? The simple act of being able to say yes or no based on your true self, one instance at a time, is the first step. So, what can begin to change for you when you start to operate from a place of your authenticity and your truest desires? Well, I believe that just from a basic physical level, I could say for myself, when I was able to truly embody this, I had a lot more peace. I was able to sleep better throughout the night. There was a time when I used to get migraines, like a few migraines every month, and migraines stopped. So that's just on a physical level. Some other things that can happen when you begin to operate from a place of your truest self, your decisions become a lot clearer. You get a lot more clarity. You're able to trust yourself like never before. And another thing that could happen is that you just have a lot more respect for yourself. And it's something that others would be able to see in you as well. There are a lot of amazing things that can happen when you start to really trust yourself. When you're able to really show up the way that you know that you need to be. Playing small may have kept you safe in those times of emotional unsafety, in those times of negative reactions from other people or ridicule. But it's making you anxious now. It's imprisoning. It can be, it may have seemed like a friend or a helper to you back when you needed it, when you needed to show up safe and small. But now it's time for you to be your best friend, the best friend to your truest self. Your anxiety is your authenticity telling you that it's time to come home. Come back home to yourself. If this resonates with you, if you find that you've been playing small most of your life, you can feel that kind of tug within yourself every time you go against your truest desires. Start to feel that anxiety. I invite you to download my free ebook. The link will be in the description. It's called From Anxious to Anchored, Listening to Anxiety and Discovering Peace. It's time for you to allow your anxiety to teach you. It can be one of your greatest helpers when it comes to transforming, when it comes to becoming that person that you've always been, helping you to rediscover who you are. Make sure you like and subscribe if this resonates with you. Share it with a friend who needs to hear this. Peace and blessings, and I'll talk to you soon.